Hello, good afternoon. This is Faye, and this is The Joys of Living Great. Today we have an exciting show for you. We're going to be talking about how to keep joy. We defined last week how to find joy, and this week we're talking about how to keep joy. Let me tell you a little bit about The Joys of Living Great. We're an episode on the Win-Win Women Network that is different from any other show that you will see here. And I know you're going to hear that from other people, but this show is definitely different. It's different because we educate, we inspire, we motivate, and we connect women of all ages and all backgrounds. We're able to help you to find joy, keep joy, and share joy. Women, we have different cultures, we have different lifestyles, we're from different countries, we have different languages, but there are some things that we all have in common. We are all women. The Joys of Living Great mission is to share the keys to living a joy-filled life through faith. We highlight that weekly right here on the Win-Win Women Network so that women around the world can learn how and hear how we've experienced joy and how we're so happy to share that joy. With me today as a co-host is Brenda Sawyer. Brenda is always that joyful person that when you speak to her, you can just feel the joy that's within her. Let me welcome Brenda Sawyer. Hi, Brenda.
Good afternoon, Faye. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well,
How's
I'm
your
grateful.
day going?
My day is great. It's going great, and I am grateful.
That's wonderful. I'm happy that you're having a good day.
Yes.
But I also know you because I know you personally. All of your days are filled with joy, right?
Yes, they are. Every single day.
So how do you manage to do that, Brenda?
Well, every morning that I'm alive, that I wake up to see another day, that makes me joyful. That makes me
that's
joyful.
great.
Yeah, that makes
That's
me
great.
great.
So when you feel within yourself that you're joyful, what kind of feeling is that for you?
Well, it's the feeling of being alive, being able to breathe, being able to just go about my day and encouraging other people, being about that joy that I have and spreading that joy to others.
How often do you get the opportunity to actually tell people about your joy?
I try to do that daily. I try. Yes, I try to do that daily.
What has been the most recent experience that you've had?
Well, when I go out to shop, like supermarket, what have you, and you may see people there and they're waiting in line or what have you, and I may say, you can go in front of me, no problem. Oh, that's great. So that kind of gives me just a small thing that kind of gives me joy, because something that I did, maybe the person was in a hurry. People have done it for me, so I can do it for them. So it's just a matter of, spreading that joy. It seems minor, but for some people it may be a lot, because they're waiting in line. Maybe somebody had to go rush to work. I say, if you only have that, you can go in front of me. That kind of gives me joy, because it's just people loving people, even if you don't know them, just being nice. It's always nice to be nice and being the change that you want to see. So have that change that you want to see in the world. Be it, live it. Don't just talk about it. Be it. Yeah,
That's great.
live
That's
it.
wonderful. So if that's what you're thinking every day, then obviously you always have an opportunity to share the joy that you have with someone.
Yes, I'm praying that
Great.
that's what happens. I mean, and people will say, "Well, you seem like a nice person." And it's not about it's just about being who you're supposed to be. We're blessed to be a blessing. So I feel that I'm blessed, and I just want to share that blessing to other people and the joyfulness that it brings me to be blessed.
Well, every time I see you, you're always smiling. So I know that that joy comes out of you because you always have, and I'm sure, just like the rest of us women, you must have some issues that come up. I mean, things cannot, because life is just not a bed of roses all the
No,
time.
not at
But
all.
every time I see your face, you're
Mhm.
smiling. That is so contagious. And that is a way of actually showing that you keep joy within you and you're willing to share it. We've
Yes.
been joined by Lady Regina Smith, who also has some stories about keeping joy. Hi, Regina.
Hi, great to join you today. Technical difficulties on my side.
Oh, we're happy that you could get here. We're so happy that you're here. And you have a beautiful smile as well.
Thank you.
Have you thought about any specific things that you want to share with the women of our audience about how do you keep your joy?
Well, as you said, Faye, we're all women in life. There are things that are going to cause us to have our ebbs and flows, our disappointments, and sometimes things don't go just quite the way we plan. And sometimes those things can allow our joy to be taken from us momentarily or even on a long term basis. I can't help but think of a book that I read in my management years, and it spoke about a change in management and what happened when some people adapted and others could not adapt to change. And in that instance, one person lost their joy, and in not uh, maintaining their joy, they lost their promotion, they lost their job, they lost other things. So even things like changes, I can think of instances where there were changes in my life, changes in the workplace. And you have to be willing to adapt, willing to know what changes need to be made in order for you to maintain your joy. And it's not necessarily about that circumstance, it's about how you can build on that circumstance.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that you mentioned that word because for many, many people, change is like a dirty word. There are many people who can easily adapt to change. There are some people who cannot adapt to change. There are others who just don't even realize what should be done if there is a change. So, obviously, if you don't start your life with that positivity of joy within you, then just the slightest change. You speak about the workplace, Regina, but in life, something as simple as if someone takes the transit bus to work and the bus company decides that they're going to change the route.
Exactly.
So the person ultimately ends up still within, walking distance, a few feet or yards of their job, but the way they got there was different. Do you realize that that can affect someone's entire attitude?
Of course.
And as it goes on, it affects their work performance, it affects their socialization, it affects them entirely. And then when they go home, that's another story because
Okay.
they've been so frustrated at work, right?
Oh, exactly. And what I've learned is for growth and improvement, you have to let the small things go. You have to be willing to move forward. And as I said earlier, adapt to change. And we will learn that the quicker we learn new skills, the quicker we learn the new bus route, it can create a better future for us. And if you change what you believe, you can change what you do. And ultimately, it will allow you to find and maintain your joy.
Absolutely. You are so right. You know, a thought just came to me while you were saying that. That little slight change, maybe going down a different block on the bus, could be a manifestation of something really, really great for that person who their first reaction was, oh no, then I gotta go on that bus that way, you know. But you never know.
Exactly.
You just don't know. So as you said, if you just don't sweat the little stuff, keep focused on the big stuff, do what needs to be done, keep that positive attitude, and you will maintain your joy. Brenda, let me just ask you, because you said that you are able to share your joy every day and you try very hard to do that. But let me ask you this. If you are in a situation where you're actually visibly, it appears that you're with someone, one person, or a group of people, and joy is not there, what would you do?
Well, I try to be a mediator. Sometimes, you can walk into a room and, it's quiet. I have a gift to give. I mean, so I um I would start a conversation. I would start a conversation, knowing that you could feel that tension. Just start a simple conversation, and then everybody will tend to get involved. I mean, that's just how I tend to do it. It's like I'm in the middle, and I want to be able to, because the quietness, the tension, you walk and you can feel it. So you go, hey, let me be that change. Let me go in here and try to do something. Not that it might make a difference, yes, because most times then they are speaking. They aren't, just about the weather, what do you think about the weather? Something that's mundane, nothing that's, too deep, but just basically starting a conversation, finding out what's going on with that person. Because we never know what people are dealing with. We all have ups and downs. We all have our good days and our bad days, but we have to do something about that. We've got to make it happen. We have to be about it. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
We are women, and as women, well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know about everybody else, but there's always more than one thing that I have to do. Always. I never seem to have just one thing on a list of things to do. There's always more than one thing that I have to get done. So we as women do this very, very well because we always have more than one thing to do. So we can, dress the kids, feed the husband, put on our makeup, feed the dog, put the bird in the cage, do all of that, and everybody gets out on time. Everybody's got their lunch. Everybody knows what they're doing for the day. And then somehow we have it all together. My question for you, Regina, is How do you find the joy in those kinds of situations?
Oh, it's about balancing. It's about balance. You really have to determine what things are important and what things do you really have to lend your immediate attention to. And I got a smile when you mentioned about a bird because I just adopted a cockatiel. And sometimes she's cooperative and sometimes she isn't. And in training her to try to get back into the cage on her own, which that would take one of my tasks away, just to get her trained to do what she needs to do on her own. And it's the same thing as a parent. You want to teach your children how to get dressed on their own, or how to collect their homework and be ready for the bus, or how to make sure that they have everything that they need. And even with our husbands, how to make sure he hasn't left his wallet on the bureau dresser and calls you later to say, hey, I left my wallet. So we have a lot of responsibilities as individuals before we leave the house. So it's about determining what you're going to lend your time to, because time is valuable. Time is valuable. There's some things we can place a monetary value on, but there are some things that's just, once that thing is gone, you can't get it back. But in the interim, as you're doing those things, you got to do it with a smile. And I personally, I give myself positive affirmations. I say, okay, well, Regina, you're still good. Your kitchen may not be spotless. That fell on the floor, but guess what? You don't have time to pick it all up and mop the floor and get out on time. So, you sweep it up and you say, okay, I'll mop it when I get home later. So you have to really understand what's important. And when these things happen, change your direction. Remind yourself, hey, I'm still the best mom in the world. I'm still the best wife in the world. If you don't tell yourself you're the best person in the world, you get out in the public, no one else may tell you that. But you have to tell yourself you're the best person in the world. Why are you the best person in the world? Because God made you. And he said we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And what we don't know, he gives us wisdom day by day, moment by moment, situations by situation. So I go back to my initial conversation. We can't sweat the small stuff. And even in trying to project our joy, to piggyback off what Brenda said, what I found out will also kind of rob you of your joy is rejection. You can try to be the mediator. You can try to be Mary Sunshine in the office, and this group will not not compromise. And there's just a little cold war going on, but you don't let that steal your joy. You still be Mary Sunshine. You still affirm yourself, and you still go on and make it the best day possible. Because as a woman, what I found in counseling and overall, people don't like to be rejected. And it's hard for them to accept rejection. And what we have to remember is a lot of times they're not rejecting you. They may be rejecting the idea that's being put forward. But
Absolutely.
that doesn't stop you from being joyful.
Oh, great. That is wonderful. When you talk about rejection, see the business that I'm in and Lady Letisha Jackson is in, rejection is something, the word we don't know, because we go for no's, because the numbers tell us if we get enough no's, we're going to get yeses.
Eventually.
And we understand that the rejection is not personal. People they will act in a rejective manner for many, many reasons. But when you have that joy within you, it makes it easier for you to understand what's causing that person to be rejecting what you're saying. You're more patient, you're more understanding, and you often have the questions that, as Brenda said, you can start a conversation with that will ultimately pull that person into your joyful space. And once you get them into that joyful space, now let's talk. Let's really talk, because now
Right.
we're getting to the bottom of why are you really saying no? Why are you offering rejections? So it all comes about, but the main thing is, and what we're saying today, women, listen very carefully. What we're all saying today is within yourself, you have to keep it, and you're only human, just like everybody else. So there will be times when you are not going to have the first thought that comes to your mind be the most joyful thought. However, you have to reach back inside and find that joy that you have. And so I'm going to ask both of you to just give us some ideas of, what do you do to do that? What do you do to reach back within yourself and find that joy? I'll tell you what I do. I do something that distracts me from whatever just caused me to not want to be joyful. It might be something as simple as, Lord help me right now, or I might start singing a song, I might turn on the TV or some distraction, or I might even pick up the phone and call somebody. And not talk about what the issue is, talk about something entirely different. Just some kind of distraction is what I do. What do you do, Brenda? What would you do?
Well, I have to go back and think, like, we're not always joyful all the time. Okay, we know that. So I'd have to go back into the time where I really felt that joy, because I'm not going to be confrontational with someone who is confrontational. I'm going to reach back into when I was, instead of me saying something, I may say something like you said, Faye, God help me, hold my peace, and God has done that. So I thank him for that. But I really want to go back into that, pull out of that bag, that I have, that bag of joy. I want to go back into that bag and find out, like, when were you joyful? And maybe this person is going through a very bad time, rough time, because we don't know what as I said before, we don't know what people are going through. So since we don't know, we don't want to jump the gun. They may snap at you, but you can't take it personally.
Right.
You can't take it personally, because it's not, it's something that they may be going through and we don't know.
So Regina, if you are faced with the situation, something happens, as you said, something spilled on the floor, you're not able to get it up right now, you're not going to let that stop you. You still got to go on with everything, you have to do. What do you do to reach back inside of yourself to find that joy that you have?
Well, I pull from a lot of things. When you mentioned distractions, they tell me that I have a song for everything. If someone is telling me, they're having a bad day or whatever the case may be, I have a song for it. I really do. The Lord just puts a song in my heart, and I can reach back and sing that song, whether it's a hymn, whether it's something I make up on the spot. I love doing that. And it just brings me joy, because a lot of times I have to laugh at myself, because sometimes the songs are so silly, but it does the job. It brings me back where I need to be. The other times I can think of, sometimes it was real poignant with me. My nephew was murdered few days before Thanksgiving. And this was one whom I helped raise in his early, like from birth to 2 or 3 years old. So he was like a son to me. So to hear this, of course, it brings you to a dark place where you don't have your joy. And at the services, I just sat there as people laughed. And my husband approached me. He says, come on, honey, it's time to leave. And I just told him, I said, I feel like my strength is gone. And I didn't mean my physical strength, I meant my joy. I felt that everything that made me joyous the life had been sucked out of me. But it was then I had to remember that I still had family that was here, that I could nurture, that I could be around, that loved me and that I loved them equally as well, if not more. So one of my best places to go when I feel that my strength or my joy is diminishing is family. Family, whether they're right there in the home, phone call away, whether they're in another state, we have the technology now where we can zoom in and see our cousins across the mile. We can text them and we can send an emoji. And just to get one back or just to get one out of the blue from a cousin that's 400 miles away, with a little happy face saying, good morning, love you, cuz, have a great day. That brings me great joy. So there are just a plethora of things that I do when I find that my strength is gone, but I realize more than anything that the joy of the Lord is my strength. So I rely on the Lord on those times. I talk to the Lord, like she said, it may be something like, Lord, help. And then sometimes it may be a rather lengthy conversation. Talk to him and I wait for an answer and I respond to his answer. Sometimes it's not what I want to hear from the Lord, but it brings me back to a place of joy.
That's right. And that is Nehemiah. Is it Nehemiah 8:10, ladies?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Nehemiah 8:10.
Yes. Nehemiah 8:10 for our audience. Nehemiah 8:10, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Read that scripture at any point when you feel you're not having joy. It will help you to find the joy that you need. We are actually here every week on the Win-Win Women Network. Our show is The Joys of Living Great. And as a group, as a team, as Christian women and men, we have written The Joys of Living Great 2. The book is available within the store on winwinwomen.com. I'm pretty sure that it's there now. It should be there. So if you want to hear more of the stories from our group, each of these ladies that were on today, plus other members of the Joys of Living Great group, get the book. The book is available. It's available for you. And don't feel that you cannot reach out to any of us. Lady Regina Smith has certification in counseling, if that's one of the things that you require. Brenda Sawyer is an accomplished, trust me when I tell you, accomplished author, Amazon bestseller. I think at this point she might be an Amazon international bestseller. She has several books that are out, and you can find her at brendasawyer.com. Do a Google on Brenda Sawyer. You'd be surprised at the many, many things and the many projects that she's involved in. We want to encourage you. Don't forget, this is The Joys of Living Great. This is where we find joy, we keep joy, and we share joy.
Yes, we do.